Hello, beautiful beings of light and love. I haven't done a live video in a hot minute in the group, so I'm just stoked to be in this space with you and to connect with you in this way. And especially as we dive into the winter season, I know it's still fall, but it really, depending on where you're at, it might already be getting really kind of cold. And so there's a lot that comes up during this time of year. I've been noticing from a lot of people some feelings of depression, anxiety, guilt, shame, and a lot of different really heavy emotions that are coming up, especially as we go into the darkness of these cooler months. And there's so much wisdom that we can really gain from these months. And I know some people are like, oh no, here we go again. And really though, it's the shifting in how we view this time that we can gain often that which comes in the spring and the summer. So this can really transform your whole year when we really open ourselves up to the wisdom of winter. Hello, beautiful Laura. And so I really want to create this space with you this winter is to embracing that which we often push away. Because I know you, I used to be like, oh great, here's winter. Now I'm going to be at home the whole time and I'm probably going to eat a bunch of food and then I'm just going to really wear large sweaters. And then in the spring, then I'll have to make up for all that stuff that I did. So in this way, I really want to shift that narrative and rather go into this space of introspection to help you see this beauty. So to kind of give you an idea of how this actually also specifically relates to women, is winter time is similar also to our bleed or our period or our moon time. It's a time when we get a lot of spiritual downloads. It's a time of introspection and inward and journaling and meditation. That doesn't mean you still can't have fun and there's not ecstatic happiness and joy and excitement and all those other things as well. But there's a lot that comes through as we write, as we watch nature root down into the ground and really take this restful time. Because we can't consistently, even though we're really kind of told to believe that we're supposed to be in this go, 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 go. But what happens, and I think we're seeing this so much, is we're getting tired and exhausted and then we're burnt out. And then we just feel like we always need a vacation. But really the goal of life isn't to need a vacation from your life, but in order to create a life that just feels harmonious. So when you take a vacation, it really is just another aspect of already a beautiful life. You don't want to create a life that you need a vacation from. So in this way, winter and these cooler months also work in that way. They give us something that we don't necessarily get during the summertime of more, outings and things and going and going and going. And I know there's a lot of holiday parties and that sort of thing. So it's just like we don't actually get the rest necessarily that we need during this time period. And so I really want to help you move through this in a way and really empower you. And notice that you also have the power to create your schedule and the way that you want these cooler months to look. So the first of this series is going to be letting go of guilt. Because I know I've heard this a lot come up, and this is one of the things I really focus on a lot with my clients, is a letting go of guilt that we're not doing enough, we're not getting it all done, and that we're not perfect. And also around food is such a huge one that we just have ourselves put up here of what we really want to do, but it's not happening. And so there's many reasons why this can happen. And so I really want to move through those with you today. So let's talk specifically, and I think this can really, of course, go more than just about food, but talk about guilt and letting go of it, right? Because guilt just feels like so heavy, and it's like, it just feels like a whole lot to carry that burden of guilt and shame on your shoulders, and you don't want to carry that around. You don't need to carry that around. So one of the reasons that first, of course, why do we carry guilt? It's because of like an ideal of perfection that we're not attaining. Well, first off, perfection is bullshit. To really state it so boldly, there is no such thing as perfect in anything, in any diet and any body type and any house and any whatever. And we might have an idea of what we desire, but first realizing that there is no perfection. It's an ideal that we're often sold to, right? Of course, like through commercials or through, ads and all those sort of things. I know in my head, I think Laura and I had a discussion about this idea the other day, is that in my head it was like, I'm a yogi. I wake up every morning at 4 a.m. and then I meditate, and then I do my yoga, and then I have my tea, and then I read, and then I pet my cat, and then I have my juice, and then I wait for a little bit, and then I perfectly time my smoothie, and then after that, maybe I'll do a sauna and a steam, and then I'll start my day after perfectly putting myself together, and then I'll see my clients with lots of spaciousness in between, and then I'll have my perfect lunch that's been perfectly prepared with the right amount of greens, properly food combined, and it's like all those different things, and it looks beautiful. And then of course I'll have some spaciousness to do some more reading or meditation, and then I'll see a couple more clients, and of course my day will be over by 3 to 4 p.m. because hey, I just don't want to work an 8-hour day. And then after that, of course, I'll have a really beautiful evening flow of yoga, maybe go to a dance class. Of course, I'll probably go for a hike. And then, of course, I'll go to bed while doing all my self-care routine. So that is the ideal perfection. I think that in the wellness field, a lot of that is true. Now, it might not be all those specific things for you. Like I said, everybody is different, but we're sold this ideal. And then we take it upon ourselves to go, oh, yeah, I want to do that. And that's totally great and fine when we have something that we're looking to attain or to a goal. But when we start holding ourselves up to something that we, this ideal of perfection, that if we don't get it right every single day or all the time, then we fail. And so that is really just a story that we tell ourselves. So first, realizing perfection is bullshit. It doesn't exist. Second, realizing that we have created the story for ourselves. So there's also some self-responsibility within this space of going, I'm the one who chose to take that on, who chose to take this ideal on for myself, and I can let it go at any time. It's just a story. And that's okay to also have goals, right? There's a difference there to go, I can still have a goal and I can still have wiggle room to be able to do other things, but I don't need to take on that which does not serve me. And so taking self-responsibility in that way too, right? And then also noticing this comparison oftentimes that we have with others is where guilt and shame can really come up, right? Because I could look at someone, and we all have different comparisons of what we want, right? Depending on our goal. As I could look at somebody and I'm like, oh my goodness, they've been juicing every day for 7 days. How wonderful they are. They're doing it so well, and here I am, and I thought I was doing good because I was just having 1 salad a day. Like, shit, I'm not doing enough. God, I'm not, who am I? I'm not even doing that well, right? That comparison can drown us into feeling as though, I'm failing, I may as well just, fuck it, I'm just gonna have a donut or a cookie or a pizza or whatever it is. So also noticing when that comparison happens, which is so easy too, right? And it's okay to look at others and go, inspiration, not taking it on as comparison, and really noticing when we're doing that. And that's a place where social media can be one of our best friends, or it can really lead us into a downward spiral. So really checking in with yourself this season. Are you looking to social media or other avenues as inspiration, or as a way of guilting yourself, and realizing the self-responsibility in that? And so to just give notice before reaction. And so really paying attention to that comparison, because for you don't know, maybe somebody is juicing, but to them that is not enough, because maybe they're feeling like they're totally failing because they didn't work out for an hour today, or something else happened, or maybe they were trying to fast and juice for them was a really, really big treat. And so really being mindful, we don't know what others are doing too, right? We don't know their story. The only thing we know is ours. And what we have control of is you have control of your story and what you're gonna do. So, right, perfection doesn't exist. Realizing you have the opportunity to create whatever goals you want, and that is your choice to take on perfection as the ideal. and to be mindful of the comparison. So, right, especially during this season, going, am I surrounding myself with people and with things and with avenues, like social aspects of social media, that are uplifting me, or do I feel really drained by them, right? That can create guilt. So being mindful of that. There's a really cool tool that I have actually on my laptop that's called Social Media Eradicator or Newsfeed. I think that's what it's called. Let's see if I can get to it real quick. Newsfeed Eradicator on, you can get it. It's a Google app thing or whatever it's called. I'm not quite sure. But what it'll do is you can't see the newsfeed of anybody else. You can only post. And so that way you're not sitting there scrolling on your laptop if you're noticing that's happening. That's what I have. It's personally helpful for me as an entrepreneur, so I'm not getting caught up in that. I have a lot of other things I want to do. And if I notice myself getting overwhelmed or confused up here, then I get off social media because I don't want it to be an overwhelm, and that can happen a lot too, right? Overwhelm, that feels heavy and not great, especially during this time of year. Also too, I think this aspect, right? This goes within ourselves. You are the only one that can make you feel guilty. And so knowing that nobody can make you feel anything, nobody, not one person on this earth can make you feel anything. You, even your parents, even your partner, anybody else, right? You choose how you feel. And when you realize that, you empower yourself even more. So if somebody makes a comment, whether it be about your weight or about food or anything else, you choose to feel guilty, right? That is really for yourself. And I know this can be a hard one sometimes for people, because it's like, they did this thing and they made this comment, or this happened, or, but I really wanted this. Right? We're choosing how we feel. And so noticing where that comes up. In terms of also food specifically, or just even behaviors that we have, is that we choose to label something as good or bad, right? We can be influenced, like we talked about, with the outside world and what we're sold to, but we ultimately choose if something is good or bad or neutral. And so for me, I've really found with all my eating disorders and everything that I've gone through is in creating more of a neutral tone around everything. And so while I know there are certain foods that do not serve me and I choose not to have, like dairy, I don't label them as bad or evil, right? Because in itself, it's just over there. It's just, or an object or a person or whatever it is, it's just over there. Like, I have the choice to label it as good or bad. And when I do that, it creates this disconnect, like, oh, it just is, right? It just is. There's nothing more than that. So when we look at a cookie and we start the story of, oh my God, I love cookies. They're so good. It's everything I want, right? It's great to enjoy and to be in pleasure. But once we start labeling it and go, oh my God, it's so good. I can't have it though, but I can't have it because it's bad, but it's bad, but it's bad. Not only do we just create more momentum, right? We're labeling that, oh, it's bad. I can't have that, but I love it. And then we get this story going in our head, which creates more momentum, which puts us into guilt. And what does it do? It just wears on us. Right? And it just makes us think about it even more. But rather, if you go, oh, there's a cookie. There's a cookie. Oh, do I want it? Let's see. Do I want it? There's a whole different, rather than telling our story it's bad. Because remember, you're the one who decided if it was bad or not. Only you can choose what you want in your diet. Nobody is making you eat a salad over a cookie. You get to make that choice. It is ultimately up to you. And that is a powerful, potent aspect of learning to get off diets, rid of guilt, and instead to make empowered decisions that are good for you. Nobody has a say in what goes into your body except for you and you alone. So remembering that, okay, it's a cookie. Okay, cool. Oh, there's a salad. Cool. And just really, that's that first aspect of just learning to be around food and not giving it a label, and realizing when it comes up, to even kind of go, oh, I'm labeling that as like good or bad. Why is that? Oh, because I've been taught or educated or all these things. And there's a reason that I teach the way I teach when I speak to you all, because it's not about that's really bad. It may hinder some of your goals. It may not be the most optimal decision, but always being mindful of the words you use around foods or actions or even people. Now, then after, right, like doing a check-in with yourself, like, do I really want something? that's something really wonderful to really check in with yourself, because once you get rid of the story, right? You don't have the story around it because it's not or good or bad. You can actually just come from a place of non-judgment with yourself. I notice that I'm rocking when I do this because it's more of a nourishing aspect, and I tend to rock when I do that. It's also sometimes, you know, depending where it is, putting a hand on my heart, a hand on my belly. You know, does that really feel good? Is that what I really truly want for myself? Yeah, that feels really good, and that feels aligned with what I want. Then I might go forward with that. And then I really almost analyze, like, oh, okay, like if I have that, how would that feel? Like, how do I see how I feel afterwards? That's also a really great place to be. How do I see how I'm going to feel afterwards? And making a decision based on how you want to feel rather than the label. So how will I feel afterwards? So sometimes you will know that, right? You're like, oh, every time I have 12 cookies, I'm gonna feel like shit. You probably know that. So even giving yourself that leeway of like, wonder if I have one. And for maybe sometimes, now this can be different for everybody. Sometimes it's best for some people to not have something for a period of time until they've learned really to harness the energy of their cravings, rather than to have one, because then inevitably it's a cycle of going downhill. The rock just like slides. And so I know I had to do that for a while. So instead make conscious choices for something different and said, yeah, but I'm gonna have this and I'm gonna choose to enjoy it. And I'm not gonna think about that, right? Because I'm not creating a story around I can't have it. Because what's really true is you can have anything you want at any time. People have often said to me, of course, that I'm vegan. Oh, you can't have that. And then I'll say, well, yes, I can. I can totally have that. Like, I can totally have that totally gluten-filled, dairy-filled, meat-filled pizza if I want to. I can totally have that. I'm choosing not to. So recognizing the responsibility and the power you have with that responsibility to be in the active choice of your decisions. Let's see what else we got over here. My notes so I don't forget anything. Comparison of others. Yes, we talked about that. Beautiful. So really, you know, in this time, as we go into this winter, right? Like we talked about this inward space, right? We notice a lot more conversation come up within ourselves because, right, we're like going inward. So you might notice a lot more conversations with yourself coming up. Like, wow, all my shit is coming to the surface. My depression, my anxiety, my hermit self. This is a really good time, just such a beautiful, nourishing time to really harness this energy and take it so that you can learn from it. There's wisdom in this season that it's giving to you. It's a gift that you can go, I'm going to journal and sit with that. Like if I'm always kind of feeling this way, what is that really telling me about myself? Where is this guilt or shame coming from? Do I need to know where it's coming from? Or just giving notice to it and sitting with it. That's where really journaling or meditation, or maybe for you, your journaling or meditation is more in the form of art, or maybe it's in the form of walking or hiking or being in nature, just being able to actually physically move through it and going, wow, like I'm really carrying a lot of stuff around this. Like, wow, food's actually like really hard for me this time of year. I wonder why that could be. Well, I'm around my family, and when I'm around my family, I feel. Right? Noticing that you have that power. Nobody can make you feel, but rather that you feel when you are around them. Or in these situations of winter, it's like very dark and you're not as active. So you kind of want to sit around and eat and comfort yourself. Realizing what kind of comfort you really you have afterwards, like, or what you're really looking for within with these spaces of comfort. Like, what am I really looking for? Or is my body just really needing some more grounding foods? You know, really kind of starting to explore all of this. And if you're having, you know, some spaciousness, well, I know where it's at. Like, I know that my family is a trigger for me, or I know all these things are a trigger for me. Then we're going to be talking about family, social events, and all those aspects on a different one of Winter Wisdom, how to really move through with the different social aspects and different self-care. We're going to talk about all that on a different one. And really the series is really about collectively for them all coming together as one, because they're all part of the same, right? Guilt comes and shame comes from a lot of different things. But the one thing I want to leave you with is that you really have a choice in this. And that is a very potent and powerful aspect. So never feeling that you don't. and really realizing where you can harness that energy of this season. So Laura had some things. How will I feel? Yes. How I feel afterwards. That's mine too. Like if you overeat, just noticing how will I feel afterwards? Oh shit, like I don't want to feel like that. That's how I calculate mine too. I'm like, well, I got a lot to do. Oh, then I'm not going to be able to do it. Is this worth it? And then you can really weigh on it in that way. Yeah, exactly. Holiday cookies, trying to fill that thing. And so I think there's just so much juiciness in this time of year. So we're going to be talking about more of the winter season, and also specifically for women, how this really relates to your cycle and what's really bubbling up that really wants to come out. So this time of year is where stuff that maybe hasn't been moved through too, just adding to that anything you've had from the spring, the summer, and also right this fall, everything comes to the surface that has not been dealt with for the year. Maybe something would have been like, oh, that's like a thing, but I'm going to kind of, I move through it, or, you know, I'm just kind of put that away. It is going to come back up right now. And because your body has stored that, the energy of this season is going to bring it right back up. So all your shit is going to be put on the table. And now it's a gift to be able to move through it so that you have even a smoother time this season, and also into spring, into summer. So just kind of going back over the spring and the summer, anything that hasn't been dealt with before will come up now. So feelings of depression, anxiety, things like that, knowing that they were already underneath, rather it's just unearthing them, is really what this season is. So really encourage you to ground in to this space of letting go of guilt, knowing that you're in this power. So take some of those tips, and I'd love to hear what you think about them, what really works for you, and offer them to the group too, because this really is a support system for all of you. And I hope you enjoy this this video and or this live, so to speak. And let me know if you have any questions. Comment below. I'm going to be taking, I'll be sharing a little bit about how we're going to be involving some moon cycles this season. I'm leaving for Bali soon, so I have a few women that I'm going to be offering the Moon Cycle Mysteries Revealed sessions to. I'm going to do a couple sessions before I leave for Bali so that you can really ground into this time of year and just feel just amazing and exceptional in your body. Hello, beautiful Jean. So we are just wrapping up right now. So go back and watch the beginning of the video. So much love to all of you. Let me know if you have any questions. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this topic. Sending you all so much love and joy.